This lonely road is in Gippsland, Louisiana, and this is where Bonnie and Clyde were gunned down.
Your destination is on the right.
I just watched The Highwaymen with Kevin Costner on Netflix. It was great. It was about Texas Ranger Frank Kamer and how he came out of retirement to get Bonnie and Clyde because nobody else was able to do it. The Barrow Gang had killed 13 people by then, including 9 cops. Hamer had a Barrow Gang member's father pretend to have a flat tire here at this spot. He agreed to do it in exchange for leniency for his son. They knew Bonnie and Clyde would be taking this road, so Clyde stopped the car to help change the tire. More than 130 rounds of ammunition later, Bonnie and Clyde were no more, after 2 years on the run. There was so much gunfire here that people in the area thought it was a logging crew using dynamite. Bonnie had a gun on her lap, but she was shot 26 times before she had a chance to use it. Clyde was shot 17 times. The couple had 3,000 rounds of ammunition in the car on that day. It wasn't long before a crowd came out to gawk and to collect souvenirs from the site like shell casings and broken glass. This area turned into a circus pretty quickly. I'm now in downtown Gippsland, 8 miles from where Bonnie and Clyde were ambushed and shot to death. After Frank Hamer made sure that the couple were definitely dead, he needed to let officials in Texas know. The Texas lawman had to drive to the nearest payphone here at this Sinclair gas station to make that call. Hamer let them know that none of the officers were injured and that Bonnie and Clyde's bodies were being sent to the next town over, which is Arcadia. The infamous couple robbed a lot of gas stations just like this and other mom-and-pop businesses. They weren't the Robin Hood steal from the rich and give to the poor heroes that they were made out to be. Barbecue shack. Looks like one of those hole-in-the-wall places where you can either get the best meal around or a serious case of regret. And right around the corner from the gas station, this building was Ma Field's Cafe, where Bonnie and Clyde had their final coffee and donuts and ordered sandwiches to go before heading down that road. Bonnie was holding her half-eaten BLT when 6 lawmen opened fire at the vehicle. This little town went viral before that was even a thing. Instant infamy. The cafe is now the Ambush Museum. This museum was opened by the late son of one of the cops that killed Bonnie and Clyde, Deputy Sheriff Ted Hinton. Let's check it out.
How are y'all today?
Good, how are you? What's Kitty's name?
Mr. Kitty.
Oh. Ted Hinton's hat. He was the youngest of the posse that took down Bonnie and Clyde. He was just in his early 20s, the same as they were. Death certificate of one of the cops they killed.
While they waited, they drank whiskey, made love to each other, and practiced their marksmanship by shooting at birds.
This is the phone that was at that gas station around the corner that Frank Hamer used to report that Bonnie and Clyde were shot dead. Bonnie was found to have a lot of cosmetics in her possession. She liked the bad boys. She was already married to a criminal at the age of 15 before she met Clyde. There she is with him. She was an A student, but she craved excitement. I wonder if she had a mental health issue, because this is beyond excitement. A replica of the death car. And the real death car. Well-dressed gangsters made them seem glamorous to the public. Warren Beatty's Bonnie and Clyde movie from 1967 made Frank Hamer look like such a bumbling idiot that his widow sued Warner Brothers Studio. They settled out of court. Hamer was actually brilliant. There was a lot of fiction in that movie. You could spend a week in here, there's so much. Clyde shotguns from their death car. I just saw their graves in Dallas, so I know that those are exact replicas of the tombstones. When Barrow gang member Ray Hamilton was executed, his final words were, "Well, goodbye all." He was 20 years old. Bonnie had burned her leg very badly, right down to the bone when Clyde accidentally drove into a ravine. She treated the burn herself with products like this, whatever medicine and bandages they could get their hands on. She must have been in so much pain that maybe that's why she seemed to have a death wish. Bonnie and Clyde at the morgue. I'm surprised their faces were still intact like that. The embalmer said their bodies had so many holes he couldn't keep the embalming fluid from pouring out. Clyde's groovy sunglasses. They look like something the Beatles would wear. An $8 paycheck made out to Clyde Barrow. No wonder he took up a life of crime. 8 measly bucks. Clyde's sister holding his bullet-ridden shirt. It was bought by the same casino that owns and displays the ambush death car. Bonnie and Clyde cleaning their guns where they camped. It wasn't all glamour. They slept in the woods and bathed in cold water streams. Bonnie's mother fainted when a reporter called and told her that her daughter was dead. I think that's a reproduction of what Bonnie was wearing when she was shot dead. I don't think this museum has the budget for the real sweater. $85,000 was paid for Clyde's death shirt. Now we're going to go to the town that Bonnie and Clyde turned upside down, even though they were dead. This little town is Arcadia, Louisiana. This is where Bonnie and Clyde's car was towed, with their bodies still in it. It was towed to Conger's Furniture Store and Funeral Parlor, which is an interesting combination. The population of this town was just 2,000 people at the time, but within hours, 12,000 gawkers swarmed these streets. The bodies were identified by an undertaker that Bonnie and Clyde had kidnapped and released a year earlier. When the undertaker told Bonnie what he did for a living, she laughed and said, "Maybe you'll be working on my dead body someday." And that's exactly what happened. This is a memorial to one of the lawmen that took down Bonnie and Clyde. I don't think this town has seen much excitement since then, and they're probably okay with that.